live right today. We need to enjoy today. We say, well, I can't wait till springtime gets here. Man, the garden. You know what God's saying to you? Won't you enjoy the winter time a little bit? Won't you just be glad you're alive? Won't you just be glad that you got health? Won't you just be glad you got your family? Won't you just be glad that everything's all right? You don't know that you'll ever live to see springtime. You don't know that you'll get that Disneyland trip in the summertime. I'm telling you today, serve the Lord now. Live for Him now. And be everything He has you to be now. For tomorrow might not never come. He went on to say, he said, go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, your garments are moth-eaten, your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and ye shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, cries, and the cries of them that which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of the Sabbath. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wont. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and He doth not resist you. Listen to what He's saying. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruits of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and the latter rain. Now here's what I want to get to. Be ye also patient, and establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. He said, be patient. Establish your hearts. Get it anchored in God. Don't worry about your 401ks or your CDs or your IRAs. Don't worry about, I just don't know how I'm going to live when I get 80 years old. I ain't even got a promise I'll get to 80. Why worry about it? Do the best you can. Be frugal. Watch out for the things. Don't blow your money on wasteful things. But I'm telling you, don't just sit around locked up in a room somewhere counting dollar bills and worried about whether you got money to do this and that. Listen, if you can't drive a Cadillac, drive an Oldsmobile. Amen. And be happy with what you got. Amen. Just be content in doing the things that God wants you to do. Number one, put God first. Put God first. When life changes your plans, put God first. He said, grudge not one against another, brethren, lest you be condemned. Behold, the judge standing before the door. You know what I thought about the other day? And I've given this quite a bit of thought. I thought about after the Thanksgiving holidays, and somewhere up in one of the states, I don't know exactly where it was at, they was telling about they opened the stores that morning for people to come in and go shopping. They said there were so many people ran into a Walmart, I think it was. Was it a Walmart? Okay. So many people ran into a Walmart that one of the guys that opened the door, they stampeded him and stomped him to death. Now, I just can't hardly believe that in America. Well, it just don't sound right in America, does it? Was it up in New York? It just does not sound right that people would worry so much. You know, I watch it on the news a lot of times. People take their sleeping bags, and when they come out with these new Nintendo games or new video games, I don't even know. Kids could have a ball in their hand. I wouldn't know no different of it. They pack in things. I catch them in church with them. I catch them everywhere with them. They got them little games, and they're just playing things and make noises and stuff. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with them, but they should be playing them in church, I can tell you that. Shouldn't even have a cell phone out in church to begin with. But you know, I was thinking how people will go and they'll camp out all night long just to get somewhere where they can buy one of those games. And they'll go, they'll camp out. It was on the news. It showed men sleeping in sleeping bags right in the front door of the store so they could get in there. Grudging. Just begrudging anybody getting that. And if somebody got the last one, they might jerk their hair off of their head. Just worried about things. Children, let me tell you young people something right now. You really don't know how good you have it. You don't know how hard your parents worked for you to get what you got and for you to have what you got. So many kids today, they don't even recognize that their parents have labored and toiled and worked and slaved to make sure that they've got clothes to wear, and better education. Your ancestors didn't get the opportunity to get an education like you got. But many of you squandered. Oh, listen, they squander. You know how they do it? They party while they're in college. And they live it up, and they waste their money on righteous living. There's more prodigal sons today and prodigal daughters than at any other time. But you know what we've become? We've become a nation that grudges against one another. And we got to have better than the Joneses. We got to have better than this one. And we got to do that. He said, but above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by earth, neither by the other oath, but let your yea be yea and your nay be nay, lest you fall into condemnation. Then he goes on over and he begins to talk about the sickness and confessing your faults. And if you've got a need, call for the elders of the church. But let's get back to this part where it says, be also patient and establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. If you used to ask people in this building, it'd almost be unanimous that everybody in this building would say, I believe Jesus is coming soon. And you could go out on the street, you could talk to most people in the little conservative communities, and they say, I absolutely do. Our preacher talked about it Sunday morning. And you could go downtown, you could probably ask most of the people and say, do you believe the Lord's soon coming? And they'd say, why don't you? Everybody does. Well, I've got a question I want to ask. If we all believe Jesus is coming soon, why aren't we striving harder to get our families saved? Amen. If we all believe Jesus is coming soon, and I certainly do, why aren't we working overtime for the Lord and a whole lot less time for ourselves? Why aren't we loving one another like we ought to? Why aren't we praying one another for one another like we ought to? Why aren't we encouraging people to get right with God? I didn't really just openly make a resolution. I'd like to start a revolution for the Lord, but make a resolution, I should say. But I tell you what I did think in my heart, that I wouldn't just openly just get up New Year's Eve night and say it. But I thought, people that I never witnessed to, I'm going to witness to this year. People that have turned me off and said, I don't want nothing to do with that church, I don't want to do this and that. They're not saved, I'm going to witness to them. My father-in-law being one of the few that I started with, I wanted to hear him tell me. I looked him straight in the face and I said, you believe your daughter went to heaven? Yes, I do. I said, you want to see her again? Yes, I do. I said, get God in your heart that she had in her heart. That's what we need to tell people. We need to say, young man, you need to get right with God. You ain't bulletproof. Just because you're 16 and tough and rough and play football or a jock on the team or something, that doesn't make you invincible. Sickness can bring you down that quick. Amen. Your bloodstream get messed up. You're a heartbeat away. You've been in an accident. Listen, I'm telling you, you need God in your life. You need God more than you need an education. You need God more than you need a new boyfriend or girlfriend. You need God in your life. And you need to know that you're ready if you should die before morning comes. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow hasn't got here yet. What is your life now? It's a vapor, and it's going to be gone that quick. I watched my grandchildren walking around this church, and I can remember when they were just born. I remember little Patrick going to his 3rd birthday party yesterday. I can remember when I cut that cord that day that the doctor delivered him and brought him into this life, and what joy he brought to our lives. But now he's 3 years old. Will the other 3 pass that quick? Sure they will. I remember when little Summer was born, I went to the hospital. She was just a little booger laying there in that little carrier there. But today I see Daddy packing her around. She's talking, she's walking, she's playing. What is it? Life is moving on in a hurry, friend. And if we're not right with God, you need to get right with God. If things are not in your life in order, you need to get them in order. Because one phone call from a doctor could change every bit of that. One phone call from a state trooper could change every bit of that. One phone call from the fire department. You know, one time I was over here preaching. I was just carrying a mail, boy. Now they come got me and said, you got a phone call. I went to the back. I said, yes. He said, is this you, Brother Danny? I said, yes. He said, you need to come home, your house on fire. I said, yes. On the phone. I went out. I had to end it. Had to go home. And what it was, David put a pot of beans on and left them on me. That man said, can we have some